Yes, we're live. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining in. I'll just wait for maybe a couple of moments more to see how many people are joining in. Just let's give it like another 2-3 minutes and we'll begin. So my current users are just 5. So I think I'll wait for this at least to get into double digits. Okay, the number is increasing now. It's a happy view right now. Okay, we are almost reaching to double digits now. Okay. Yes, there we have. I think one more minute. In the meanwhile, you can like our page, you can subscribe to our channel. That's the standard which we are supposed to give. So yeah, in case you're sitting idle watching my face, those are the few things that you can do. God will be very kind to you. Yeah, I got 1 like extra. Thank you for listening. Yes, I guess we can start now. So thank you so much for joining in on a Thursday afternoon, that too post lunch hours. Trust me, I'm not going to give you any sleep inducing lecture on this. This is going to be a fun session. So if you had your lunch, this is more going to be like a calorie burning exercise. Your brain is going to be running. There will be some jokes here and there. So yeah, I promise this is not going to be a boring session for sure. That I worked on. So thank you so much for joining in. I'm Jaya, co-founder of Spalva. And before I get into this session addressing the topic, which is will your hotel pass the ideal checklist of any event planner, I would just like to give a background that why we are doing these series of webinars, why we are doing these sessions, and why specifically these topics. So as our clear focus is on event venues. Event venues can be anything, your hotel, a boutique hotel, any space that has the capacity to hold a corporate event. This is going to be a very relevant webinar for you. What the insights that we are giving here are based on the insights that we have worked out together, we have gathered together, basis our experience of hosting events for almost as a team for like past 2 decades. So there is a lot of learning. As a team, we have hosted some of the finest events in the world for some of the biggest brands, include your fan companies, any kind of public companies, everything. So there's going to be a lot of food for thought for you if you are a space owner, if you are a venue owner, if you're a hotelier. And you can take notes. You can maybe at the end of this session write to us on jaya@spalva.com, and we'll be happy to share the entire checklist with you, the presentation with you. So the idea of this webinar was basically this entire core proposition of how we can empower venues in selling themselves better, that eventually makes any event planner's life easy. So we are three co-founders who started Spalva together, out of which two of us come from event industry. And the core problem maybe we were addressing with the thought of building Spalva was how how we can make this entire event industry better. There is an entire digital revolution happening around in the world, but being in this industry, we really felt that there are a lot of things that in this industry particularly, that technology might be able to help in solving better. So that was the reason to start Spalva, of bringing a digital revolution for this industry. And when we headed towards that revolution, one clear understanding was that we cannot lead anywhere without addressing a very major foundational point here, which is venue. So we truly believe that no event can be successful without a perfect venue. And like we always say, that a venue, any venue, a good venue or any kind of venue is a soul of a successful event. So it is directly proportionate to any event success, and that's why our major focus is how do we give tools, how do we give insights to create this holistic place where venues can do better and eventually this entire event industry can benefit out of it. So thank you so much. And now I would like to begin with this session. I'll share a small presentation here that will be helping you in giving a quick context to whatever I'm saying. So Harsh, thank you so much. I have the presentation running here. So this is today's topic. In case any one of you has joined just now, this is the topic that we are going to address here. That will your hotel, and by hotel, you can just synonymously change the word hotel by venue also. That we'll keep doing in the entire presentation. So will your hotel pass the ideal checklist of an event planner? And this entire checklist is put together from a viewpoint of any corporate event planner, that when they are on set of organizing an event, when they are on the entire exercise of building a perfect event, how important is a venue and what are the things that they look at to find the venue. So coming to one very important question, I will go I will try to trace the journey of an event planner, like while they search for any event venue, how their entire journey is like. So the slide that you see here, of course, this is connotation of how it feels to any event planner when they are trying to look for a venue. So the moment you put it on internet, like event venues near me or best venue in Delhi to find best venue in Delhi for a product launch or anything, this is the visual representation that comes out exactly. Every hotel out there claims to be the best hotel, but unfortunately everything ends up looking same. I'll be throwing names here, like it will be very difficult for me to differentiate between a Taj in Delhi versus a Taj in Bombay basis however they are portrayed online. So as an event planner, there is like, in this entire digitization of hospitality industry, the current onset is that everybody has started following a simple same template and everybody ends up looking almost same. There is no distinction, there is no USP. So as a user, when I go online and I try looking for hotels, by looking over the internet, I am more confused or more in double minds rather than being more convinced. So which brings me to a point that while I have searched for the best venue and while I have got this search result, when I end up going to any hotel's website or something, this is what it exactly sounds like. All those words like magnificent, splendid, spectacular, and many more jargons like that. This is what the websites are yelling like it takes me back to that Kareena Kapoor moment of saying मैं अपनी favorite हूँ, and that's how any hotel sounds like to an event planner. Not knowing what are the key USPs from event perspective, what are the things that this venue offers from event perspective, that I can quickly read on and maybe shortlist this venue. So, eventually the situation turns out to be something like this that you can see in the next slide. And I'm sorry, it's just becoming too coincidental. Valentine's Day has just passed, and this meme will make too much reference here. But this is exactly how it becomes like that. Every hotel is trying to pitch the best proposal, best way forward kind of a deal. And this is how an event planner eventually ends up feeling. So our idea with Spalba, our idea of having this session, our idea of building Spalba was to build an entire ecosystem of event industry where venues are the most important part, and help venues in gaining more and more traction from the event sales perspective. Like room sales is good, but how do you increase your banquet sales? How do you offer your event spaces? How do you become a 10 on 10 there for an event planner? So there are exactly 7 points in my checklist, and consider this checklist as something which will define my user journey, not from the perspective of how to, not from the perspective of how to sell your venue, but rather than how to present your venue. So while any event planner is online, they're looking for a venue, they'll look for like at least 100 venues, and they'll be shortlisting 10 venues, 15 venues to drop that RFP, or maybe do that effort of dropping a mail. So our idea is that your venue, your hotel should be a part of those 10 or 15's list. And how do you become the part of that 10 or 15 list? That we need to ensure. So our journey entirely here is going to talk about how to generate that lead, how to generate that RFP call for your venue. The bigger your demand generation will be, the bigger will be a potential to crack a lead, to crack a possible event. So at least in this webinar, we'll address the point zero of it, of how to increase your demand cloud, how to have more traction, and how to have more qualified leads, which will eventually becomes a SQL, which is your sales qualified lead. So, we'll not be stating things which are not under your control, which are things which eventually everyone, if you go on any blog or any of those listicles of how to increase your banquet sales, or what are the things that an event planner is looking for, people will tell you about those things which you as maybe a marketing manager for any chain, or maybe a director of sales for any chain, or a general manager for any hotel or venue, you don't have control over those fixed things. People will talk about a perfect location, people will talk about aesthetics, people will talk about interiors. Those are fixed things, and we understand that as a hotelier, as a venue owner, those are not under your control. Those are bigger things which take a lot of escalation to happen. What we can work out together here is the variable plan. Things that are very small hacks that will help you in boosting your entire sales pipeline, that will help you in actually increasing the cloud size of your demand. So we'll only focus on variable plans, the small things that you can start with. And I assure you, this is exactly from the viewpoint of a event planner, coming from my first hand experience from my team, what exactly how our journey is like, and what are the points that can benefit you. So like I mentioned, we have shortlisted 7 most thorough points that any event planner looks for or goes through major problems for when it comes to finding a venue. So what are those 7 things that you can exactly follow and make sure that you get that RFP call or you get that RFP mail from an event planner? So starting with the first point, which here is about ensuring that I think there's a, yeah, now the slide is up. So yeah, my first point on this checklist is your digital persona. So digital as a word is overused. Digital as a word is perceived in different ways. People think that having a website or having social media pages is all about being a digital brand. But unfortunately today, when like how people have a entire consulting firms working on their brand image, how they have their social profiles maintained. As a brand, your identity is not about just being digital, but having an entire persona digitally. If you say that you are a very high tech chain of hotel, if you say that you are a very sustainable brand of hotel, there is an entire digital persona that needs to hold that claim. How solid is your brand image online? And brand image is beyond things like your website. How a person perceives your brand, how they are interacting with your brand also online is a part of your digital persona. People have best of the websites, but there will be some kind of error while they are trying to put a mail in that info corner, or the dimensions would be wrong or something. So these are the general problem that any event planner goes to, and this is where they lose interest. Let's say I, being an event planner, I want to host an event for 200 people where I need a round table setup. I'll come and I'll come to that hotel's website and I'm not able to find a fact sheet, something as basic as that. Or maybe like, the dimensions are wrongly mentioned or some errors are there. That will make me eventually drop out of that page and eliminate your hotel from the list. So the idea is not to have such moments and ensure a solid digital persona. Digital persona is not just about your website, but also having your digital assets in place. And we can elaborate more on it on a one-to-one session. When we say digital persona, we help venues in creating a microsite. We have micro pages on Spalba. So a subtle brand plugin here, but not necessarily like how any chain hotel will look on their corporate website is the USP that their local property is also offering. So we need to have that hyper localization. So that's why your digital persona needs to be hyper localized. For most of the chain hotels, for most of the brands, it's a problem. It's a problem because everything happens at the corporate level. So that's where Spalba pitches in and helps you in creating your micro pages, your sites from an event planner's perspective without disturbing your bigger asset, which is your global website. So second part is the fact sheet. So you're well aware of, you create these, which are your fact sheets. Fact sheets in general, but we have added the word here E, which stands for event planning fact sheet. So what I mean from fact sheet is, let's say how a social candidate, how somebody looking for a room booking will need information from your website is there, but things that an event planner might need, he might have to churn down like at least 8 to 10 pages and gauge that information. So the idea is, if we can have this fact sheet friendly, this fact sheet will have the information that every event planner needs. Like, you can just do a quick recall how it happens. You get a mail, then they ask what is the capacity, then they ask you for a layout, then they ask you, do you have pictures? And all of this is like 4 or 5 layers of process. So the idea is to cut down that. How do we, quickly just package it in a fact sheet to an event planner where they have a clarity, okay, tick, 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 this venue totally fits into my need. So this is where we pitch for this entire formatting, where something as important as your capacity, something as important as your layouts. Layouts are the biggest pain point for any event planner. At least it takes 3 to 4 rounds of communication to get them, then you get the wrong one. Maybe even from the hotel side, venue side, changing layouts day in, day out is a pain. But this entire process makes you drop a lot of potential leads, because before the layout, any event planner cannot decide that whether this event will be able to fit in my 200 people as your website is claiming, or it will just be able to fit 100 people, and people are waiting for the layouts to come, some salesperson is busy, and this is a potential black hole where you drop a lot of your leads. So the idea is to have this e-fact sheet handy, ready on your WhatsApp somewhere, where maybe, or like something in your social handles, where this can be quickly downloaded, quickly seen, and have a filtration process by any event planner where they can shortlist your venue. Next point to like build up on the same thing is, now that they have gone through the fact sheet from an event planner's perspective, they want to know, okay, whether you are available or not. And this is the part where your response time really makes all the difference. Let's say I have sent a mail and this response is coming in 3 days. You know how the event planning industry is. My favorite stats that I'll just plug in here is that event planning is considered as the sixth most stressful job in the world. So everything is every time on fire. People want quick turnarounds, people want quick responses, and this is where you lose out on a lot of potential clients which can come in. So your response time really matters. On the central websites, on the central social channels, generally there is a generic email ID which is written info@xyz.com, or maybe that central calling number. And this is where everybody is running out of time, and this is a black hole where other set of potential leads go. So it's very important to figure out a way how we can do better on this response time. So there are a lot of automation tools right there in the market. In fact, on Spalba also we have a RFP generator. If you have a microsite created on our page, you will exactly be intimated in your mailbox that you've got a lead. You will get a ping on the WhatsApp and you can just reply on fly. So you don't lose out a potential lead. When it's hot, you hit the hammer right there. My next point, which is the fourth point in this very important journey of an event planner in shortlisting a venue before reaching out to you, is the part of ensuring focus group. So as a hotel, as a venue, as a space, you really need to have the knowledge about your audience. So as a space that what is that makes you different, or what is your one USP. But the idea is that maybe if I have any of the salespeople listening to me here, this is one very important point for them, or maybe marketing people, that you should know your audience type very thorough. Even if you're going on paid channels, then also it becomes very important that what is the language that you should be speaking. So by focus group here, what we mean is that you should know that what is the audience that you should refer to, where your venue becomes the key highlight for that audience. So for example, let's say I'll give an example of Delhi. If people from Delhi have joined in, they'll have a better sense of this, or maybe Bombay for that matter. Let's say it is a press conference or it is a one-day business meeting and your location is very near to airport. So or in case, let's reverse this. In case you know that your location is near to your airport, your venue is perfect for those half-day events where people want to come in, fly out, right? All the Aerocity people, all the Santa Cruz people, Santa Cruz hotels in Mumbai area. So you know that you are perfect for those kind of events. So this is where you can target maybe media houses, people who host press conferences, people who host those product launches, half a day affair thing where people are flying in from different cities. And maybe your sales team focus, instead of reaching 10 corporates, can become very focused to these media houses. Let's say your venue is located, and like I said, we'll not be discussing about the fixed problems here, which is your location, but we'll try to find a solution that how do we package it better to empower you with whatever you have. Let's say your venue is not in the city center but somewhere on the countryside. It becomes a perfect venue to host offsites. So maybe HRs are your perfect audiences, right? So in, at least unlike a social event or unlike your any B2C channel, B2B sales has to be very focused. So if an event planner is coming who is looking for an offsite venue, you should know that you need to talk. And by event planner, it doesn't mean any event agency. Anybody who's planning an event in our terminologies on Spalva is an event planner. So maybe your venue becomes the perfect option for any offsite. So you should know that what is that your hotel is holding on, what is that your venue has the capacity for, and you should exactly look into targeting those set of audience. Hence, audience generation, audience identification is the key. Even if you go to your paid channels, then also it becomes very, if you do paid marketing, it becomes very important to define your entire targeted segment. And once you have a very big clarity on your focus group, that who are the people that you're talking to, then comes the magic of positioning. So this is that one thing that makes you different. This is that one thing which on a search page of 15 hotels will make you stand out for anybody who's looking for a hotel or event venue. So positioning, by positioning I mean, I would love to give an example here, like how I am following this campaign very actively by Hyatt India, around Hyatt India weddings. So they are very beautifully positioning that they are best equipped for any kind of wedding set of events. Maybe as a hotel which is located on a countryside, you can position yourself as a recreational, as a away from the city, as a vacation, staycation kind of a property. So finding that how you can leverage what you have and package it in a tone online in your digital persona and position it to your targeted audience will make all the difference when somebody is shortlisting for a venue. So if I go back to my last pointer of the checklist, which is your focus group, and I pick up the audience category, which is HR, and who's looking for hosting an offsite event, and your venue is positioned as the perfect venue for unwinding, that is the eureka moment where it will click them. It is where your venue will stand out. So saying 10 things to 10 people might not work out, but saying one same thing to 20 people, 50 people will always work out. That is the beauty of a strong digital persona that we always focus on. And this brings the entire checklist to one more very strong point, which is, now I have shortlisted the venue, now I have identified that it fits my need as an event planner. Now everything depends on, maybe I want to come for a recce, or maybe I want to take a virtual tour, I want to understand from you, even through a online meeting, that show me your venue or how your venue can host my event. So this is the point where we give a lot of focus to the guest flow. So spatial designing is all about creating a user flow with the sense of how our brain perceives direction. And especially from event perspective, it is very important to have a clear flow of how your guest enter your venue and how your guest exits your venue. So even if you're sending that PPT to your typical photos presentation to any of your client, these are few things that you can work out on. Maybe your first slide has to be the grandness of how the entry is, how it looks like. Then it should be about the pre-function area, then it should be about the ballroom, then it should be about the exit points, then it should be about washrooms and other facility. So understanding the user flow for somebody who have just like dropped your mail or who have been just checking that how your entire venue looks like. Even if you're putting a gallery of your ballroom or your space on your website online, there has to be a flow that anybody understand, and especially for event planners it becomes very crucial. I don't want to waste 10 mails or maybe 2 days of calling just to understand whether you have 5 exits, whether you have 10 exits, how many washrooms are there and everything. So your spatial designing in your PPT on your website of your event space really matters a lot for anybody to filter down your venue and shortlist. And once that is done, this is one extra plugin that we would like to bring in, considering how this entire generation of Gen Z is so tech dependent, and like millennials are getting old. It is going to be all the Gen Zs who are going to be your customers. And given how the past year has been all about Web3, metaverse, and everything around that, this is where maybe online only you can up your game. You can up your game way better than photos or maybe those videos of your entire space. This is where you can you know just change the game from imagination to visualization. There are a lot of tools available where you have the capacity to exactly show that how your venue will look like while you are doing an event there, through tech like VR, XR. Anybody can get a sense of how your venue is looking, what will be the feel like. Now nobody needs to even come down to the venue. Through these technology, they can exactly explore every nook and corner. So this is one very big selling point. And trust me, 3 years down the line, 4 years down the line, how there was an era where people used to say nobody used to use touchscreen phone, and keypad phones were like a thing. And then everything has changed. Nobody has those keypad phones anymore now. So this is going to be a thing that everybody will ask for a VR view. Everybody will ask for a very simplistic virtual tour or something. And this is where you should not lack out. You should invest on this infra altogether. So once any event planner is able to find all these things on your digital assets or on their journey online, finding a venue, they will be very happy in their search. And if in case your venue has these 7 things right there on their digital user journey, they'll be happy to reach out to your venue like in the given minute. So that is our idea, that how do we increase the size of the entire demand generation and turn the tables around, so eventually your venue, your hotel can have an event full time, and there can be a lot of leads, there can be a lot of RFPs floating in, there can be a lot of sales calls that can be made. So I think that brings us to the end of my 7 pointers checklist. This is all what we had in store for this topic. I think if these 7 things are right there as an event planner, I have a better clarity of what I should expect from a venue. Is this the venue whether I should reach out to or not? And I can become a very potential qualified sales lead for you, who's coming with a very clear intent of what they want, which saves the time for your salespeople also, which saves the time for your entire team in reaching out to the right audience, in reaching out to the right set of communities in order to sell your venue. So I hope this is helpful. In case if any one of you want to get in touch with us, or if you have joined in between, or if something was missed, we'll be happy to send over this presentation. You can go to our website www.spalva.com, write us a mail from there, or you can just simply drop a mail on jaya@spalva.com. That's my email ID, and we'll be happy to share this with anyone who want to recall whatever we just mentioned in this checklist. So that's all for now. And we'll be back again next Thursday, same time, with some interesting topics, with the key focus that how do we make these venues more empowered, how can we help these venues from an event planning perspective, and have much more banquet sales generated through events. Thank you so much.